Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my show Camera Tuesday. In today's episode we're going to take a closer look at Lavalier Microphone. So let's dive right into it. Now, first thing you have to understand, audio has a tendency that allows us to actually immerse ourselves into any experience that we are receiving, be it a YouTube video, be it a stage performance, be it a movie. So audio has a tendency to it. That tendency is generally described as heard but not seen. You're supposed to hear the sound, but you're not supposed to see where it's coming from. Basically, if you're seeing some actors or actress playing something in front of a camera, you're not supposed to be seeing a guy doing like this. Now, this is necessary for interview, but it is not necessary for movie or things of that nature. Now, in olden days we used to do that because we didn't had any alternate option. However, nowadays we have an option, that is lavalier. So for suspension of disbelief, like, you're not gonna believe Star Wars if like all they say every time, hey, hello, yeah, let the past die and kill it if you have to. Yeah, that's not how it's gonna work. So to make sure that you have suspension of disbelief, you have two options. Option number one, you have a guy with a boom pole with a shotgun microphone. Awesome option. Consequence, you have another guy in the stage. You have to figure out where he is, like, is he coming into camera or not, and you have to pay him on top of the equipment that you are buying. So it is an extra hassle that you have to deal with. Now, of course, it has its uses, but let's say in front of a camera it works flawlessly, and like, let's say Linus Tech Tips, you can use this flawlessly. However, try that on a stage, it will simply not work. So for this reason, we don't have freedom of movement if you have basically boom mic operators. And it's not simple and easy. Every other option that we tried is simply not easy and efficient. So lavalier microphone came and take its place, basically because sound has one very odd tendency that is classified as inverse square law. Basically, the further you go, the quicker it dropped. It attenuates very quickly. So let's say 10 watt of sound is coming out of my mouth. By the time it reaches the camera, it's barely 1 watt. So, and even though distance is not that much, that happens. So like, even if you have megawatts of power, let's say a concert, now at the concert it's like deafening, but the moment you go to even the next street, you're like, oh, something loud is happening, because the sound drops dramatically. So this creates a problem for microphone, that you can't place it very far. However, it also helps us if you put microphone very close. Even a person talking very quietly is actually loud enough that small microphone like this can easily pick it up, because of the distance, because the closer it is to your source, better it is. So that is why we do it. We have to do it, because you cannot have a scenario where every actor and actress is working on a stage. You can see, oh, this is the microphone, this is the boom operator guy. You're not supposed to see this. You're supposed to hear it but not see it. Then we come to the option aspect. Okay, lavalier microphone is like this. What options do we have? Now, first options, the option you see most clearly is basically head-worn microphone. Now, basically you have something here and it has a direct mic coming out of you. Now, you see TED Talks, generally people are using this. However, this is a more like a compromise. It's like, yeah, I can't do much about it. It's just deal with it, because this does break immersion. Let's say you are in a conference and somebody is directly talking to you. Because humans are in tune to the fact that we're gonna look at face, you're gonna see a giant stick. Yeah, there is a stick. Now, when I am talking to you, you're not supposed to see the stick, but it has that. So this does give very good performance, because it's very close to your face, like barely few centimeters. So even a crappy microphone capsule here will give very good quality audio, but it breaks the immersion. So generally they color it in a same skin tone as the actor or actress, whoever is wearing it. But again, you can see that, you can easily see that there is a giant thing. Okay, it's a good option. It still gives you flexibility. Still, it's not that big or bold that you will always notice it, but it still breaks the immersion. So it's a compromise kind of thing. Then we come to the collar microphone, something like this. Again, this is good enough, but because your human tendency is just look at my face, you're not gonna pay attention to this. Of course, like, if you get bored, then of course your eyes will wander around and then you're gonna see this. Now, okay, this is okay for, let's say, YouTuber like that, but let's say you want to do a movie. Yeah, that's not acceptable. So in movie, what we do is what we classify as concealed microphone. Basically, you take something like this and you hide it. Now, concealed microphone is not something that you can buy. You cannot go to a shop and be like, hey, give me concealed microphone. That's not how it works. You have to hide it. Now, of course, sound engineer or whoever is working on a big project or big movie, they will take care of this. Now, let's say in case of Adam Savage, I like this guy. Adam Savage used to do a lot of stage play. Now, in that sort of scenario, he had an issue that because they give you this this microphone, head-worn microphone, it limits him, and he has to change his dress multiple times during his tour doing brand branding. So he figured it out. I am always wearing a glasses. What if I conceal the microphone in the glass? Now he did that. Now, of course, this is an old photo, but you can see that, and I will provide the link down below where he does that for Vsauce also. So the benefit of that is like, you're not going to see a microphone, you're not going to see like this, and even if you're wandered around and you look around himself, you're not going to see a black thing here. So that is one way of doing it. Many TV shows try to hide build clothing in such a way that they can hide it properly, and let's say actress is wearing something very like small, like you physically have enough, like you put anything here, you're gonna see it. So they have complete skin here, you can't hide it, they will hide it in a hair. Now you're like, whoa, isn't that the bad place? Yes, but again, you have to do what you have to do to conceal it. So there is like a lot of experience. This is more like, this is not something they can teach you in the school. This is something you go to stage and you figure it out. So this is one option, like these one of the three options. Most preferred one, concealed microphone. Simple one, this microphone, basically call my highest quality one, head-on microphone, TED Talk. But again, because how Adam Savage did it, his microphone is more or less the same distance, so it also works amazingly. So but if you hide it inside a collar or a jacket, you have to make sure, because A, it does not hear the rubbing sound itself, B, like because the sound distance is much further, you have to make sure it's sensitive enough. So these are the three core options. Then we come to the aspect, okay, you are taking the audio, you're converting it to an electrical signal. What are you going to do after that? Now you have two core options, wireless or wired. Now in my case, it's wired. Basically, I have the audio goes into a recorder has an output goes to the camera. It's completely wired. Benefit, it's cheap and reliable. I don't have to worry too much about it. If I see it, it works. Now, of course, there can be certain things, cable can break, cable can come loose, but all things considered is generally classified as simple and reliable. And this has a benefit, I can do it live. Then we come to the aspect of wireless. Now wireless is the darling of almost everything. Many news channels earlier they had to have that boom pole, but then they realized this basically does not allow people to have that flexibility to move around and, like, you know, express themselves properly. Especially if you see nowadays, like, you know, a lot of CG elements are happening in the background, so person is completely free. To have that, they use this basically wireless system. Now in wireless system there is an issue. Signal takes time. Now again, signal itself is traveling at light speed, so you don't have to worry too much about it. However, to convert that signal, you have to convert it from form A, basically the audio, to electrical to whatever you need, then to whatever you need to on the receiving end. You have to take whatever is transmitter is sending, you have to change it, put it back into the camera. Side effect, there is always latency. Benefit, humans are latency tolerant. We can tolerate latency as long as it's below 50 millisecond. The reason is simply because audio and video travels at a different speed. Nature created a failsafe for us. So as long as it's below 50 millisecond, you're good. But in earlier days, many times people tried digital systems, because there were so many steps. You take the signal, you convert into basically analog voltage, then you digitize that voltage, then you convert that digital signal to another form of signal to transmit it, then the receiver will receive it and then transmit again. Because of that, the latency was 70 to 80 millisecond. It was bad. Basically, that is why many times, even though like as recent as 2020, as in 19 or 20, you can still find a lot of analog receivers. That is the core reason. Analog is complete pipeline. The latency is very low. In digital, the latency was very high. Any latency that is below 40, that's good. That's like, yeah, I can live with it. Any latency that is below 10, awesome. At 10, it's like pointless. At 10, you cannot tell the difference. So again, but it does come with a consequence. It's ludicrously expensive. If you think camera lenses are expensive, try price of this Sennheiser things and all that. So due to recent advancement in memory technology and processors, somebody came up with the idea, hey, many people do what we call post-processing on a video. How about we, instead of having this wireless hoo-ha, we just create a recorder, basically make a smaller version of this. Benefit, it's very small. The Tascam one that I'm showing you, of course you can see it, right? This is the width of the belt. It is very small. So A, you can hide it on the clothing completely easily. B, does not have an antenna or signal interference, because you have to worry about that. Even though, let's say you have completely awesome receiver, what if something interfered in between? As in, like when the signal was wireless, that happens. That's why, like a very expensive movie grade one, they generally have giant antennas. Like, I kid you not, the antennas are this big to make sure that signal drop does not happen. Even recently, Rode released a very awesome overall complete package for YouTubers like me. It's pretty awesome, but again, if I turn, the signal drop happens. For that reason, it's not as reliable as wired system. If wired system, you can easily see if cable breaks or something like that happens. Now compact recorder, please be aware, you cannot do it live. Most of them does not have line output, and even though some of them do, but they are not really that good. So be aware of that. However, if you buy a ludicrously expensive wireless one, they come with their own recorder, so they can do wireless transmission without latency and record it as a backup track. So in case like a signal drop happened, you don't have to worry about it. I really wish they did that with Rode. And or at least made a expensive version, basically 200 version this and $250 pro version where you can put micro SD card. That would have been amazing, because people are complaining like if you are at the line of sight, it's awesome. The moment line of sight breaks, boom, you're done. So there are certain pros and cons of this, and please be aware of the situation. Like let's say I'm standing in front of camera, I'm not gonna move that much. Wired system is more than good enough. I could have bought a wireless system, again I would have been just wasting money. So please be aware of that. Let's say you have a wireless system and you're like, yeah, it's gonna work amazingly, but then you realize you are in a place which has a lot of radio interference. It simply will not work. At that time, going to basically a Tascam scenario would have been better for you, buying a recorder. So please be aware of the situation. Then we come to some tips and tricks that I want to impart on you guys. Basically, if you have a lavalier microphone, most likely case is it's a mono one. Basically, it gives one channel audio. Now, benefit of that is that even though it's mono, your recorder, whatever it is, Zoom H1 and whatever it is generally recorded as a stereo. Now, benefit of that, you can put what we call audio line attenuator. You can build it yourself. It's generally cheaper that way. You can build it, and what it will do is like take one audio track that is completely untouched. You're not touching it, you're not doing anything. Another audio track which has lower basically higher resistance, lowering the voltage. Benefit of that is when the signal goes through that, it becomes cold. So basically you can set your microphone, basically recorder gain to very high, and if somebody started screaming, the high gain one will clip. No problem with that, because now you have a cold track which now becomes warm, so that you can recover the audio. This is analog. You don't have to worry about battery, you don't have to worry about buying a software, you don't have to worry about anything other than, of course, it will increase your post processing, but it will give you a much more reliable peace of mind. Now Canon cameras are kind of good in this, although not great. Like they always reach 90% and then they make stupid things. Is like I can record basically, let's say I have this lapel mic directly connected to the microphone, basically cameras mic in, I have a inbuilt attenuator. I just can't control the setting of it. I can't control like I want minus 18 dB or minus 28 dB. Now if you want to build it yourself, I will provide the links down below, and Caleb, he built a very interesting one, very small one. And if you want to build something where you can tune it yourself, you can buy potentiometer 1 directly off the market, or you can build it yourself. It is doable. So benefit of these things will be, it will give you analog signal, 2 analog signals you will receive. All recorder that I know of record stereo, so you will have a hot track and warm track. So it's pretty awesome, not too expensive, and does allow an analog reliable solution. Then you can, if let's say you have to have wireless system, you can do it yourself in your home, but be aware of that it won't be as reliable as a Sennheiser one. There is a reason for why Sennheiser is so expensive or Sony one is so expensive, but you can do it if you want to. Basically, if you buy a lavalier microphone that is powered, aka it has basically battery pack like this, then you can do this. We basically put the output from lavalier microphone into a FM transmitter. Now this FM transmitter is stereo, so if you had that line attenuator, it will still work, and then you can receive it. These are made for cars and they are very cheap. The reason why you want to do this rather than Bluetooth option is because Bluetooth have latency. Now of course you can test it out yourself, and if you find the latency is less than 50 milliseconds or you can't notice it, basically that's the whole point of latency. You should not be able to notice it. There is always latency. Even this wired system has minor latency, but you cannot notice it. So if you try with Bluetooth and it works awesomely, awesome, enjoy. But likelihood of that is very low. I will not put my money on it, but you can use FM. This is a cheapo option, so please treat it as such, but it will give you this option if you need it. So this is one option. You can have FM transmitters, and do not use your mobile phone, simply because mobile phone has a lot of digital processes done to it, so it has latency. Your mobile phone alone will add 200 millisecond latency. Basically at that point it's useless. So these are the tips and tricks that I wanted to impart on. You can build your own line attenuator, even a basically variable one, something like this, where you can change the basically how much dB you want to control. This is a complete analog thing, and you can be reliably confident that it will work 24/7/365. And of course you can try homemade option with FM transmitter and receiver. They do not work awesomely, and if you have a lot of FM radio towers, this may not be as good as some. But if you are in a rural area or inside a home where FM signal does not interfere too much, yeah, this will work flawlessly, and it is stereo. So this was my presentation on lavalier microphone. I hope you liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the ad shown in this video and click the like. And if you didn't like it, don't worry about it, you can press dislike. I would urge you to press this twice to show me your extra disappointment, and leave a comment because I reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you are free, and as always, thanks for watching.